All right, here we go, the attempt number 3 for me to make this video. But I want to make it so bad, we're going to do it anyway. So this is my Salvador Garcia deck, the Salvo deck. I like to call this a bleed and snipe deck. The deck runs Salvador Garcia primarily. He gives you this wonderful ability to reduce the cost of Anarch cards by 1 fewer blooded pool. We rock along with him Henry Taylor, who's a great vampire that lets you recycle combat cards you've used immediately after the action is completed. And then we got Steve Booth, just a nice array of disciplines for the deck, and then a trio of Anarch converts to hopefully make them Anarch before we have to do it manually. The deck largely focuses on trying to squeak through some really moderate bleeds, so we're playing Undue Influence primarily. It's a nice way to help influence out vampires a little faster, a nice way to get bleeds in at the same time, and late in the game it can also be a nice way for you to get some pool back if you need it. Along with that, we're running 3 copies of Monkey Wrench and 7 copies of Power 1. Both of these cards can be as cheap as free, thanks to Salvador's ability to reduce the cost by 1. And Monkey Wrench can even be a bleed a +2 for only 1. Almost as good as a Govern at inferior. We're also, though, trying to push these bleeds through in a different way than we were before. Previously, we were just using Gear Up along with the +1 stealth from Undue Influence to hopefully get us enough influence to get the action passed. Maybe if we got blocked, we'd hopefully have a Crypt Suns that would get us a little bit of push through. Now, however, we've added a few more cards. We've got ourselves an Anarch Railroad. Should help push us through. We've been playing the Libertas before, but the big add-on here are these Protean disciplines. Getting Sal and the rest of them to Superior Protean is pretty relevant, because if we can manage it, we can play Form of Mist. And this deck has a lot of cycling potential by playing things like Gear Up, Undue Influence, and Shattering as separate actions to really help us cycle through. Form of the Mist, of course, lets us end combat, keep the action going. What if people try to end combat? We got 5 copies of Bollocks to help with that. All of our vampires have presence. All of our vampires have celerity. If we need it, we can try to maneuver right, or we can just cancel a grapple if that would also help. A pair of options there that are quite useful in many situations. Going back to those actions that we were talking about, Gear Up does give us a bonus stealth every time we are able to play it on all of our actions we'll take for the turn. So we can take actions like Shattering, we can take actions like Undue Influence, all in the same turn because we're playing stuff like Crime Think. This card is great for keeping your vampires ready to go, or leaving them up to block. We do have an Anarch Free Press to give us an intercept, though it's not really the deck's forte. We're also playing 5 copies of Instantaneous Transformation, mostly for versatility's sake. If we happen to get a Superior Protean down on one of our vampires, this card gives us a bonus way to unlock if we need it, but also a nice way to get some stealth in situations we might not otherwise have it, giving us a total of 4 potential stealth on any given action, save Gear Up, and to some lesser degree, the Shattering. Beyond that, we're playing 1 copy of Narrow Minds because we don't want our bleeds ending up somewhere else. We'd want to minimize the number of bleeds that are getting sent our way. Between Narrow Minds and Libertas, our bleeds usually end up being pretty painful for a deck to bounce. So they're largely going to focus on trying to stop them, which may or may not end up working to a great extent, because with Henry Taylor's ability, and Form of the Mist, and Garibaldi, and Waste Management Operation, we can really easily cycle our way through a consistent bleed for 1, stop a block from happening, potentially get ourselves a bleed modifier to add on top of it, or the stealth we need to make the bleed go through, even when we're at the point of emptying a deck. When you can cycle up to 3 cards in a turn, that's a good amount of card movement. The kind of card movement you're gonna want in this game. All in all, I think this is a pretty fun deck. I think it's a really good deck. I think it's well worth giving a try. Thanks so much for giving this video a try. Take care.